Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Movie Snips. Today we're going to be talking about the giant sandworms of Arrakis and whether or not a creature of such size and complexity could exist biologically, and if yes, what conditions would need to be present in order for such a creature to grow to such enormous proportions. So the sandworms depicted in the Dune universe grow to be immensely large, with the largest measured specimens exceeding 450 meters in length. It is rumored that larger specimens exist in the deep desert. They can be as large as 700 meters to 800 meters long, although this hasn't been proven. The largest animal ever known to exist on Earth is the blue whale, which can grow upwards of 30 meters in length and weigh up to 190 tons. This is still a far cry from a creature such as a sandworm, which is many times larger. So the short answer to this question is that according to our knowledge of basic biology and physics, sandworms simply can't exist in the context of the Dune universe. First of all, an animal that exists on land usually has an upper size limit in terms of how big it can get. On Earth, the largest dinosaurs that walked on land are generally about as large as land animals can get, or at least according to our current scientific knowledge. Let's address the square cube law. Basically, this law as applied to biology and evolution means that if a creature were to grow in size, like the sandworms of Arrakis, they would not have the muscles or exoskeleton to support their own weight. But let's suppose that many meters under the hot sand of Dune is a quicksand of sorts, not made up of water, but some other substance mixed in with the sand. If this environment existed and is where the worms spent most of their time, they could get past the square cube law. One of the reasons the largest animals on Earth are sea creatures is because the buoyancy of the water mitigates some of the square cube law as it applies to evolution. However, sand is still solid material and doesn't have the same fluidity as water, so this argument doesn't hold up very well. Furthermore, how would a creature as large as a sandworm be able to breathe, assuming that the worm stays underground for most of its active life? The second issue that needs to be addressed is how do sandworms eat enough food to support their massive bodies? In fact, how can any living creature survive in such an environment similar to planet Dune? Herbert says that the sandworms feed on underground sand plankton, as a blue whale would on krill. However, the sandworms would need to be filter feeders in order to do this, much like blue whales. It is clearly evident that sandworms have large teeth-like protrusions and are accustomed to swallowing and digesting large metallic vehicles, such as spice harvesters, with very little effort. This is a conundrum in itself. How do sandworms digest metal and turn it into a viable source of energy? The third issue that needs to be addressed is the mobility of sandworms. Because a sandworm travels at incredible speeds over the sands of Arrakis, it would need to consume an unfathomable amount of calories, about 340 billion kilocalories a day, just to maintain its size, as well as go about its daily activities. On a planet such as Arrakis, where life is scarce and most other animals don't get much larger than a small rodent, this scenario seems entirely impossible. So even though sandworms are fun to imagine and visualize, they don't seem to have much of a basis in reality, at least according to what we know about how large animals can get on land. Especially on a planet which is largely devoid of life, and where finding a suitable source of food is a challenge in itself. I'd like to thank you for watching my video today. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and please check out my channel for more lore videos.